So when reviewing 13-foot 3 3/4 pound test curve rods, you don't want to be plagued by bream because it gets quite laborious. Hello there Carpologists, I'm Joe, and today we're taking a look at the Carp Spirit Magnum XLR 13-foot 3 3/4 pound test curve rods. Now, so far today, all I've had is bream. That'll be bream number 4. But as you can tell from that take, this one is a carp. And I know what you're thinking, broomstick rods, but the tip is actually taking all the lunges quite nicely. Obviously there's a lot of power to it, as you'd expect, but this is absorbing all of those lunges. It's not feeling way too stiff. Nice progressive action, but it's also able to cast a fair old distance. I'm putting solid bags out today, and it's doing the job. This one's coming in nicely. It's about time I had a carp, because I've had about 5 or 6 breams so far. Now, incredibly, although this fish is only about £5, these rods did not feel way too overgunned, which is good to know. And he's in. Now, these rods are out and out distance casting rods. There's no two ways about it. So even for the lake I'm on today, these are overgun, but they can still cope with these sort of smaller venues. And the carp that I have had today have still been a joy to play, but you've got to bear in mind that I am fishing probably only 60, 70 yards. But these are perfectly capable in the right hands of casting in excess of 200 yards. And that's all thanks to the carbon that's used, the taper, the eyes used. Everything has been designed for out and out distance casting, but it's also built to last as well. As you can see, they look very smart. You've got Alps reel seat here, built to last, nice and sturdy, grippy in the hand, grippy handle. You've got a anodized sort of stainless steel butt cap down there. Going up, you've got a 50mm butt ring, all the way up to an anti-frap tip. And again, these guys are so free flowing that the resistance is virtually non-existent. I'm using shock leaders today through to 12-pound mono, so quite light line, but it just absolutely whizzes out. Once that leader's gone through, you can barely feel any resistance, and that's going to aid you in casting those greater distances. All right, stop. I know what you're thinking. When am I ever going to need a 13-foot 3 3/4 pound test curve rod? And Carp Spirit know that for the most part, most of us don't need a rod of that kind of caliber. They were just wanting to show that it is possible, and if you do need to fish at those sort of ranges, they can pack a punch and they're able to do such a thing. But they've got other rods in the Magnum range. Today, I'm using the Magnum X5s, which are much more suitable for my sort of fishing and for most of us. These are £3 test curve. You can also get a 3.5 12-foot or 13-foot 3.5. So they cover all sort of different ranges and capabilities and styles of fishing. For me, on my syndicate, this is probably only about 4 acres in size. The 12-foot £3 is absolutely perfect. I've been fishing well within my ranges here, and the casting capabilities are very nice to use. Because these are only the £3 models, perfect tip action on casting these shorter distances, but I know that I'll still have a lot of backbone in there to get the fish through, and if I get any kind of trouble with some of the pads or whatever, I know I can still give the fish a bit of stick. So for most of us, this is what you'll really be looking at. Now, don't be fooled into thinking that this is a tier below the XLRs, because they're completely different tools for completely different purposes. These still pack a hell of a punch, mind you, and they've got the whole range covered with the 13-foot 3.5 down to the 12-foot 3s that I'm using today, and they look beautiful in doing so as well. They really are smart looking rods. Now, they're built with the purpose of still casting leads at far distance, but getting that nice fine-tuned balance of having a softer tip, so that when you're playing the fish, not that I've had any yet on this session, but from what I can tell from just the casting, is the tip is slightly softer and it's a very progressive kind of power curve. So when you're casting out, you've got plenty of reserves down here in the blank, but the tip is just forgiving enough to ensure that it's not a broomstick when you're fishing. And £3 obviously is quite a nice comfortable range, but I'm sure even working up through the models, that is how they've gone about getting these rods to do exactly what they want with casting, but not sacrifice any kind of playing capabilities. Now, cosmetically, these rods certainly fit the bill as well. Starting off with the ass. Carp Spirit logo etched into a stainless steel butt cap. then we've got about 6 inches of Japanese shrink wrap, so a nice textured, grippy handle. Moving up, nice slim handle up to very understated graphics on the face of the rod. So ass is good, face is good. We're on to a winner here. We've got Carp Spirit logo just below the reel seat and the name of the rod just above. Either side the name of the rod, little flecks of blue, nice little sort of injection of colour which just breaks everything up and gives it a nice subtle graphics, but something a little bit different. Here is a carbon clone reel seat, 18mm in size. At the moment it's fitting snug with my 5500 size reel, but would easily encompass reels much larger than this. So if you're going for maybe the 12-foot 3.5 or the 13-foot 3.5 and you want a bigger reel to help you get those bigger distances, absolutely no problems there whatsoever. Moving up, we've got SIC guides, TUX SLG something or other like that. It's some kind of dyslexic alphabet name for the guides, but they're good is what you need to know. That moves up from a 50mm ringing pattern up to an anti-frap tip at the top. All minimal drag, so it helps you to cast much further. And you've also got a 1K weave throughout. That aids tip recovery, accuracy, and just minimal resistance when you're casting. And that is pretty much the rod in a whole. Nice and simplistic in design, but looks dead smart. Thanks to the high modulus nanomatrix carbon used on these rods, Carp Spirit have been able to keep the blanks nice and slimline and sleek looking whilst retaining strength and durability and keeping weight down. This is all finished off with an anti-scratch finish, so they're going to look just as good in a few years time as they do when you first bought them. And as I mentioned with the casting, they've got TUX TLSG guides, I think they're called. So from now on, I'm just going to refer to them as Dyslexic's alphabet. But all of this combines together to give you an ultimate casting machine that's going to work for many, many years. There you go, the Carp Spirit XLRs and X5s, and the prices are as follows, starting off with the 3 rods in the X5 range. 12-foot £3, £199.99, 12-foot 3.5, £209.99, and the 13-foot 3.5, £219.99. They're moving up to the XLR. Remember, this is the casting beast flagship model. You're paying for that as well, £329.99. Certainly isn't the cheapest on the market, but for everything you get packed in for that package, then it's probably worth paying for. But if neither of those rods tickle your fancy, stay tuned in the future. Make sure you're subscribed, because we will be having the X3s and the X1 rods coming from the Magnum range as well. So for more information on these, or to have a sneak peek at the rods I just mentioned then, please head over to the Carp Spirit website. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you again soon.